This episode resumes float training in Alaska.
And you can feel it skidding. It doesn't feel like a step turn the way it's going to flip over. Plowing. No, there you go.
And I learned something that kind of blew my mind.
Almost all airplanes can be hand-started and hand-started safely. In the bush, it's a necessary evil. You have to be able to do it sometimes.
That's right, even this massive radial can be hand-propped.
Consider it hot, dangerous every time you move it. Don't assume anything.
Okay, cameras inside are rolling. So just so I know what's happening, you're gonna be working here-ish.
Okay.
So let's nobody get killed, all right?
Nope. Nope. But if you do, it's a million hits.
Yeah.
This is another installment from the ongoing Alaskan float training series. We started out covering all the basics with the objective to move up to the left seat checkout in the DHC-2 Beaver. This was shot during the summer solstice of 2018.
So check this out, that's where I slept, and this is my view.
The weather was awesome and the sun basically didn't set, so we got like 20 hours of daylight to get a lot of training done.
Well, first of all, Steve, welcome to Alaska.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
We're looking forward to showing you all the neat things we have to offer here. We're going to be covering you just to get you prepared for the equivalent of getting your single engine seaplane rating. We're going to be doing that in a PA-12.
I took a break from this series through July to deal with some time-sensitive stuff related to helping out with virtual AirVenture, including a behind-the-scenes tour we got to do at Garmin where we essentially got unprecedented access. Previously, we covered the most uncomfortable aspect of float training.
You're going to do what you love so much. Step turn? Oh, not step turn. Step turns. It's the worst feeling. Oh, that's gross. Oh, that's gross. I feel like we're going to flip.
Today we'll be doing the more benign plow turns.
We've covered a little bit of those along the way in the previous lessons. I put quote marks because really we don't call it parking, but so we have beaching, we have docking, and we have ramping. The key to all that is whenever you get a chance is when you're overflying, get an idea, a bird's eye view of what your plan is. It's a lot easier to do that with a bird's view than once on the ground and going in circles. Don't poke your nose into this, the final area until you have a plan. And on a lot of the plans are well taught off, a little bit in open water before you start getting close to the shoreline. A big factor is the wind, and we want to make sure we're aware that there's wind and make sure whatever plan we have, we use the wind as a friend, not as a problem, because wind will always win. All clear? Okay, so plow turn is to make a downwind turn and counteract the weather venting tendency of the aircraft. Let's say we have a strong wind on the nose. So what we're going to do is we're going to use a couple tools to our advantage. One of them is we're going to go ahead and turn to the right, because every plow turn should be done to the left because we want to beat the weather vaning, and torque is obviously only going to help us going one way.
And right after those lily pads, we'll go 45 to the right. So we're simulating the wind's coming from the nose now. Yep. So we're going in there, it's like, Martin, I don't know what the hell we're going to have to do to get back there. I think it's going to be a plow turn here. Too much open lake, we can't go hide. What we're going to do is pretty much like cocking our arm on the baseball, right? We get the ball behind us, so that's going to be the 45-degree turn to the right.
So we're going to turn 45 degrees. We're going to leave the water rudders down, and we're going to go into the wind. When we're ready to go, we're going to add full power. So the airplane is going to want to go left. We're going to go ahead and step on the water rudders to the left, and we're hoping the momentum of the aircraft is going to go past the headwind.
Start adding power, let's go.
And how do you know when you have enough
left rudder? Well, you're trying to keep it in the plow, like there you go. You're just fighting to turn downwind. Just don't want to get airborne. You won't get airborne in that position. Left rudder, that's all of it. Oh, I know, I'm just saying left rudder.
During that time, we got the stick all the way back, and we're plowing, so there's going to be a lot of water spray because we're moving the water buoyancy, gravity, behind the floats to help us make that turn.
And just quickly address, why is it bad?
Well, because we have very low visibility, the engine works really hard with no cooling, a lot of water spray, and it's chewing up a propeller. A lot of people don't realize very quickly a propeller can be ground to nothing with just water.
Okay.
That's how those mountains happen, right? So it's just not our preferred maneuver to do that, but it's one of them that you have to demonstrate during your check ride and do. And then today you'll see with while the wind kind of died down a bit, but just doing that maneuver, you should look around the propeller and you're going to see a lot of water being lifted up in the propeller. So that's why we're going to only do it today. We've talked several times, and it's a mechanical maneuver. Yeah. And we're not going to subject the
So we don't really have a lot of wind, but we can still demonstrate it.
Oh, we can definitely demonstrate it, but just by demonstrating, you're going to see what it does to the airplane.
Right. And you can feel it skidding. It doesn't feel like a step turn the way it's going to flip over.
Plowing. No, there you go.
And as we come across, hopefully we're going to make it past the 90-degree point to the left, and as soon as we establish our downwind leg while giving the appropriate flight controls, now we can come off the power, and now we're going straight ahead.
And now stick flat power back. And then now you use the rudders to fight that. Okay, we can finish it. And now we hold the stick back, and now we're downwind. Now if it jacks nice on you, you start adding power to keep it there.
What happens in a strong wind is even if you come off the power completely, and the wind might still want us to completely turn us around. At that point, you have to keep the stick back and add power and going down. That's why we don't really like doing it. So during the whole time, you'll be doing left and right rudder downwind with the stick all the way back to keep the center of gravity in the back, and using power to counteract the tendency of the aircraft wanting to jackknife into the wind.
So all these basics were leading toward the advanced training we were going to do in the Beaver. We covered hand propping this massive engine as a part of the initial ground portion.
Okay, so tell me who you are and what's your story.
Hi, I'm John Burton, and my story is I'm a kid that grew up at the airport, and I had a student pilot's license before I had a driver's license. Mainly my profession is an A&P mechanic, and I restore and build antique airplanes.
We're going to talk about hand propping, so give me some context. Why would you, or when?
Well, I've had some experiences where I've got 4 fishermen, 2 guides in an airplane. We're ready to go home, and for whatever reason the battery won't start it. I was tailed up on a riverbank in pretty swift water. We got to go home, you know. It's not someplace where you can go charge the battery, and almost all airplanes can be hand started and hand started safely, but there's procedures and there's operational safety things that you need to do. You know, maybe things are wet or slick or snowy or icy or whatever, and you just got to take those kind of precautions. Always have an out. That propeller can, on this airplane, is not quite so bad because there's no impulse couplings on the magnetos. On a little Lycoming or Continental powered engine, sometimes if you move the propeller and the impulse coupling clicks, it can start if the P-lead's broken or the key's left on or whatever. So consider it hot, dangerous every time you move it. Don't assume anything. Don't ever put your body in the arc of the propeller. If you're not familiar with this, I do not recommend that you just go out and try it. First time I did it, my instructor at A&P school had a hold of my belt and was ready to pull me back. So you can hand prop tricycle geared airplanes, you can hand prop 3-bladed prop airplanes, you can hand prop. There's just a technique for almost any one of them. In the bush, it's a necessary evil. You have to be able to do it sometimes. And a lot of folks up here, they don't want the starter, the battery, all the associated wiring, and all the stuff for weight. And because they're trying to keep these Super Cubs and stuff just as light as possible. And so they hand prop every time they fly.
So just to set the scene here, it's cold.
The engine has not run today. It's sat overnight. It was probably in the 50s this last night. It's probably in the mid 60s right now. It may not start on the first pull, but we'll see. We'll get it primed and loaded up, and a float plane is a little exciting because you're standing on the float. Sometimes there's no escape route. This time we have it nose to the beach, so it's not going to run away, but obviously we're not going to taxi it away when it's running, when it's nosed in. So if this was a real situation where we had to leave, we'd turn it around and it'd go out the other direction, and so you're going to be standing out over the deeper water and all that kind of thing.
Right, yeah, so this is just for the sake of filming the process.
Yeah.
We're making it a little easier on me.
Correct.
Okay, so let's get Martin involved here, and just go ahead, Martin, stand right there, and we're gonna now brief how this works.
All right, so Martin, the engine hasn't run today. It's cold. We're gonna prime it. We're gonna roll it through with the mags off. We're gonna load the cylinders up as if it had cranked a little bit, you know, on the starter. And then you're gonna be sitting in the cockpit. I'm gonna say crack the throttle, and so you're going to repeat after me. If I give you a command, you repeat the command. If I say crack the throttle, you crack it up, and I crack it, I mean like 3/8 of an inch or so. If I say switch on, I mean both. You say switch on back to me. If I say switch off, because I've got to reposition the propeller, you say switch off, and you do it. You execute my command. We'll probably start it with the primer loaded in case it's almost going. We need a little squirt. You can pump the primer down and give it a little shot while it's kind of chugging along. But chances are it's probably just going to light up and go. So that's kind of the drill. You're going to be in the left seat. I'm going to be standing on this float. This engine, we just need to get it to roll. So every time the master blade goes through 2 cylinders, it's hitting on a firing stroke. So the firing order on a radial engine goes starts with 1, and it goes all the odd numbers. So it goes 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, and then it goes 2, 4, 6, 8. So it just skips cylinders. Number 1 cylinder is the straight up top cylinder. If we pulled the spark plug out and rolled around and found top dead center on number 1, we'd have 1 blade lined up perfectly with that cylinder. And when you check the compression on a radial engine, you put it on 1, the next, you don't have to go looking for the compression. You just move it over to number 3, you check number 3, you check number 5, you check number 7, you check number 9, then you check 2, 4, 6, and 8, and you're done. That's what we'll try, and I guess we'll get all set up and regroup here, and we'll give her a whirl.
Okay, cameras inside are rolling. So just so I know what's happening, you're going to be working here-ish.
Okay.
So let's nobody get killed, all right?
Nope.
Nope. All right.
But if you do, it's a million hits.
Yeah.
All right. Normal prepping procedure going on. He's just priming normally for a normal start.
3rd. 4.
Okay.
And I'm reloading the
now
primer.
Load it in case we need a little more in a minute. Okay.
And just to be clear, loading it means the
primer's full of fuel, ready to be pushed down.
Yeah,
So I can inject more.
I got a good shot there. Cool.
Okay, so now I'm going to say to you now, switch off. That's
off.
mag off.
Okay.
Mixture's lean.
Mixture lean.
Yeah, because I don't want it to start. Throttle's back.
Okay, now I'm getting out of the way.
Okay.
Throttle back.
Throttle back. So I'm going to now move this over, and it helps to be a lot taller than I am.
So this is with mags off.
This is mags off. We're just trying to pull some fuel into the combustion chamber. Okay, now. Okay, Martin, crack the throttle. Martin, throttle's cracked. Mixture full rich.
Full rich.
Mags hot.
Mags are hot.
All right, contact. All right, switch off.
Switch off.
Switch on.
Switch on.
Okay.
Mags off.
Mags off, switch off. So that really was all there was to it. There's a lot of inertia in this propeller, and if I could throw it hard enough, I can get it to pick up on the 2nd cylinder and it'll keep going. The 3-bladed version of a Beaver, there's not a lot of inertia, and the propeller blades, invariably it's in the wrong place. You can't feel the compression coming up. The compression's down here and you can't push it through. So you got to bring it down to another cylinder, and then you got to reposition the propeller. So a 2-bladed radial engine is much easier to hand prop. And when this is on wheels, it's a dream to hand prop, because you can stand in front of the propeller and you can come down on it and you can get a good swoop and a lot of leverage to it, and it just goes right out of your fingers.
Just to make sure your people know we weren't cheating, master switch never came on.
Right.
so people understand the difference between the engine electrical system and the electrical system. Master never came on, just the mags on and off, which just shows just because you have the master switch off doesn't mean you're not going to get bit.
Ignition.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, that's a good point. Awesome, thanks guys.
All right.
Sweet. All right, man. Well, that completes it, and it's really a maneuver that's very self-explanatory, but it's not one obviously we like to do. Okay, gonna go one mag. Yeah.
So that completes the basic float training. For the next few episodes, we're moving straight to the Beaver for the left seat checkout, and then we'll be flying a whole bunch of real world missions in that airplane. So it's awesome. I can't wait to share it.
Pedal fast here. Yeah.
And until next time,
There we go.
keep your flight chops sharp.
Mags off.
Mags are off, master's off.
Hang on. I'm losing my touch.
The lasso cowboy,
Yeah. Ah, you kidding? They're gonna start.
nope. Mags are off.